Hello there, mysterious person behind the screen. So, bit of a break from the norm on this one, but I wanted to take the time to talk about one of my favourite shows in recent years, Lisa McGee's Derry Girls. Set in the 90s during the Troubles in Northern Ireland, the show follows the lives of five friends: Erin, Orla, Claire, Michelle, and Michelle's unfortunate English cousin James. I've wanted to talk about this one for such a long time. Since it aired back in January 2018, it's become one of my favourite comedies of the past 10 years. I remember seeing the initial trailer and thinking, okay, it's just going to be yet another teen comedy trying to ape the success of The In-Betweeners by throwing in as much sex and swearing as possible and not actually realising what made that show good in the first place. No thank you. But when I gave the show a chance, the first episode immediately proved me wrong. At first glance, yes, the show does look like The In-Betweeners, but with girls. There's the loud sweary one, the slightly spacey one, the nerd, kinda, and the one who's the butt of all the jokes. There's an episode where the girls are nervous about a big exam, leading to one of them getting massively hooked on energy drinks, and from the recently released trailer for Series 2, there are a few more similarities. But the show is so much more than that. Now, obviously I'm not a girl, or Irish. I didn't grow up during this time. But one of the reasons I love this show is that its audience isn't confined to that demographic alone. It makes the troubles seem real and relevant without alienating those who are less educated about what happened. I am ashamed to say that before Derry Girls I knew very, very little about this conflict and just how big it was. And therein lies the genius of the writing, the juxtaposition. I remember seeing some of the promotional material for Series 1, and I frequently saw the phrase ordinary people living in extraordinary times, and I really can't put it that much better myself. We see these girls, and James, just trying to go about their lives as normal, but there are constant reminders of what is happening externally. Episode 5 in particular shows the family having to get the hell out of Derry because of the Orange Order. However, no scene shows this juxtaposition better than the final scene of the first series. Now, this has been talked about enough, but the final scene of the show so far is one of the most sensitive, heartfelt, and pitch-perfect scenes I have ever seen in a comedy. At this point, I'll say skip ahead if you haven't seen this episode, because I don't want this scene to be ruined for you. Still here? Okay. All the dancing to Madonna's Like a Prayer, weirdly replaced with Take That's Pray in the Netflix version, followed by her friends taking a stand and dancing with her, is heartwarming and sweet enough, but then the tone flips. We see the family terrified, watching the news of a recent bombing. The often hilariously grumpy Grandad Joe walks in and joins them. We once again hear the same song that opened the series, Dreams by the Cranberries, and as we begin to intercut between slow motion shots of the kids dancing and the family transfixed by the news. And as if all that wasn't enough, Joe puts his hand on Jerry's shoulder. Their constant arguing seemingly forgotten for this one desperate, comforting moment. It is, in a word, beautiful. Now, when this first aired, I remember jumping on Twitter to see the general reaction, and the amount of people who lived through stuff like this praising the realism was just inspiring. Lisa McGee should be incredibly proud of herself for this ending, and the juxtaposition of the blissful ignorance and innocence of youth and the real, genuine horrors of conflict is so poignant and cements Derry Girls as far more than just your average comedy. Speaking of comedy, well, it's funny. It's very, very funny. Since the show first aired, I've often quoted it in my everyday life, just hoping someone will get my reference. Nobody has yet, but I'll keep on going. A lot of the dialogue is just so incredibly witty, and part of the reason it works so well is the chemistry between the cast. You can tell they're really great friends in real life. Saoirse Monica Jackson's facial expressions are just hilarious. I've watched the show through about 5 times now, and on my most recent watch, I still managed to notice her subtly acting in the background, and it always gets a big laugh out of me. Likewise, Nicola Coughlan as Claire brings just a massive sense of panic and desperation in every scene. She's hilarious. Dylan Llewellyn as James is so hilariously pathetic. Jamie Lee O'Donnell as Michelle imbues her with such a sense of infectious energy. And God, if you ever see Louisa Harland in interviews, it's amazing how different she is from Orla. You get the sense she's constantly thinking about something other than what is actually happening right now. And if I had to pick a favourite character, it probably would be her. The cast just gels so damn well, and you genuinely believe these girls are best friends, and the writing comes at you so fast that it's almost impossible not to warm to them all instantly. So yeah, I finally said my piece on Derry Girls. There's so much more I could talk about, but I think I'll leave it there. I can't wait for Series 2, it looks so good, and if you haven't watched Series 1, get on it. All 6 episodes are available on All4 and Sky TV in the UK, and internationally a slightly altered version of the show recently debuted on Netflix to a massively positive reaction, so there are plenty of places to view it. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care now.